Now it is. I hit the power button and it worked. All right, guys, thanks for coming out to the Club Braman Performance Theater. You can take pictures, you can take video, do all that you want to. All we ask is that you tag us on your Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, social at Wave927 or at Wave933. I am Heath West with those radio stations on the Treasure Coast, Wave 92.7, and in the Palm Beaches, Wave 93.3. Awesome performer up here today from the great state of Louisiana. Is it Louisiana or Louisiana?
Louisiana.
Louisiana. That's why I say it that way.
Pronunciations don't matter.
He's got a brand. Is the EP out now? Is that available for now? Just the single, right?
It's coming this summer, yeah.
All right, cool. So EP coming, singles out. He's on Black River Entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. Jacob Davis.
We're happy to be here at the beach. It was cold in Nashville when we left, so we were pumped to get down here. It's gonna be a lot of fun, y'all. I'm from Louisiana, like Heath was saying, Shreveport area, born and raised there. I went to LSU and studied environmental science and geology, so obviously I'm putting that degree to good use. But anyway, yeah, I really fell in love with performing when I was in college, and I'd always played music, and I learned how to play guitar about 12 or 13. But you spend enough time in New Orleans and Baton Rouge, and it kind of gets a hold of you as far as just the culture and the food for sure. But the music is just something serious down there. It's kind of infectious. So I always told myself, I said, if I can get to Nashville and kind of start a band and do my own thing on stage, I want to infuse some of that. And luckily, country music is in a place now where it's almost accepting of that, which is great. So, played all through college. I graduated and was offered a job with an oil company out of Texas. And there's a lot of money to be made in oil and gas. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to take that. And I did it. And I was 2 weeks in. They put me on an oil rig in the middle of a cotton field. And I was absolutely miserable. So I realized real quick, I was like, man, I don't want to be doing this. I wish I was playing music in Nashville or doing it somewhere, But luckily, my parents told me, they were like, just give it a year. You can do anything for a year. And they were very right, because at that age, 22, 23, a lot of growing up needs to happen. And I stayed with this oil company for a year. I made some money and learned how to pay my bills and show up to work on time and that whole thing. And I kind of took that work ethic to Nashville. That was 6 years ago. So since then, started the band. These are my guys. And we've been rocking and rolling. I signed a record deal with Black River in June. And I told them what I wanted to do live and how I performed, and they saw it and came and saw me a few times on the road and said, we love what you do on stage, find out how to put that on tape. So we've had the freedom and, just like the time and whatever we wanted to do to go and make the record that I wanted to make, and that's me. So I can't wait for y'all to hear it. We're so fired up to get it out there. It's coming this summer. This is our 15th week of radio tour. So it's going well. We're still happy, still like each other, and still get along, and get to meet a lot of new faces. So thank you guys for taking the time. We're gonna get a little funky with y'all. So this first one's called James Brown. I hope y'all dig it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
One hand out the vodka drink and one hand Come on. When you get down, I get crazy. so we get a little funky on stage and move around a lot, and that's kind of stuff that I was always drawn to. I grew up on a mixed bag of music, a lot of 90s country, but I was always drawn to the stuff that made me want to shake a little bit. So it's been awesome playing this on the road. With that one song in particular, that was the first one that we cut. And I told the label, I was like, man, I want to get background singers, I want to get some horns in there. And you never know when you're walking into like the head of the label and it's like, hey, this is what I want to do. And he can easily be like, go away, boy, go away. But luckily they were like, yeah, that sounds awesome, man, just do that, whatever that is. And so we hired these background singers that were straight like gospel singers. And they're coming in, and I'm talking to my producer, and he was like, man, I've never worked with background singers before, gospel singers. I said, well, I haven't either, man. I think we just set up a microphone and let them go. And y'all, when I say gospel singers, like they came in with more attitude and sass than you've ever seen in your life. One came in with a huge afro. She had her Bluetooth still going, was eating a bag of Cheetos, and was just swaying. She was like, where are we singing, boys? So it was everything that I hoped it would be. And so we set them up, and I told Forrest, my producer, I said, man, I don't know, again, much about background singers, but I do know that if we can get them up and singing, I've watched enough YouTube videos to where if they're doing this little thing, this little woo, 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 like doing that, shaking together, then we'll be all right. And sure enough, we get to going, and Forrest reaches over, and I had the headset on, my head down, and he taps my leg, and he goes, look, dude, look, they're doing it. And I looked over, and all three of them around this one microphone just doing that, woo, woo, moving together, and then, that was one of my proudest moments. I was like, look at this. So anyway, I can't wait for y'all to hear it. That one song is crazy. It's awesome, so me. But we've been able to play it out live. We usually end our show with it, and getting out live is such a determining factor of what works and what doesn't work. So we've been on the road for 3 years. You play songs that are awesome, and then you play songs that suck. That's just the way it is. And you look at each other and like, all right, boys, let's don't do that one again. But this next one I'm going to play for y'all is one that I wrote. We would be on the road Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, playing every night, and then come back to Nashville, and I'd write Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And there's no formula. You just try to write more songs of, that you think would work. And this was one I had to write with a guy named Jim Collins, who's a great songwriter. Wrote The Good Stuff for Kenny Chesney, both Tractor songs. She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy, and Big Green Tractor. So he has a weird thing for tractors. So he shows up to write, and I'm sitting there, and he was like, he gives you like the veteran writer thing. He goes, all right, well, what are we writing? And expects you to have the hook. And I said, well, Jim, I got this idea, man, called Got Me Like. I think it could be really cool if we did it this way. And this, I'm giving him the whole pitch, and he goes, okay, well, what's the hook? And I said, well, the hook would be, your love's got me like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And he says, okay, well, what's her love got you like? And I just went, ooh. And he goes, okay, all right. So he's looking at me. I'll never forget, he's looking at me over his glasses. And in his mind, he was thinking of a nice way to tell me that was the stupidest idea he ever heard. And he couldn't come up with a nice way, and he just goes, that don't make no damn sense. And I'll never forget it. But anyway, somehow we kind of twisted his arm, and he stayed in the room with us that day, and we wrote Got Me Like. So this is it.
1, 2, 3.
Things that I can't shake. One of them all fired up feelings I can't take. Sing songs I used to hate. I check my phone all damn day. Been waiting on a buzz from you. Come on and light up like you. Oh, like a bullet coming from a gunshot. I've been waiting for you coming in hot. And baby, I can't help that boy to look out. Your love got me right. Fire burning up the blue sea sky. I don't know if I can wait till midnight to give them to your love against mine. Your love got me right. Ooh, your love got me right. My favorite old James Taylor tune. I know what he meant by something, the way she moved. Girl, when you dance, I lose control over both my hands. love got me like fire running up the blue sky. I don't know if I can wait till midnight to get the rest of your love in mine. Your love got me like. Come on. Your love got me like. Yeah. See, your love's got me like, ooh, 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 ooh. Makes perfect sense, right? So yeah, it's been fun playing these songs, and like I was mentioning earlier about inspirations of mine, you never quit finding inspirations. I feel like as an artist, I was always drawn to a lot of James Brown, Otis Redding, Elvis, and then the '90s Garth and Tim and George and all of them. So in my mind, I thought, like, if I could take those '90s country lyrics and infuse them into some of that soul and some of that funk, it would be a win-win, you know. And so I think that we've done that. It's taken 6 years to find that, you know, just to try to do something a little different. This next song is one that I had just recently heard the Meghan Trainor record, and I was like, holy crap, man, what's that? It's funky, and it's just kind of like, it just felt good, made you want to move around. And it's so cool being able to walk in a writer room now with two guys you write with and pull your phone out and play a song and say, dude, what about this? What if we write something like this? And they're like, oh, that's cool, you know, and then you kind of start working off of that somebody else did. You got to be very careful with that. That's a true thing. Be very careful with that. So anyway, I'd listened to some of her record, and I had this idea called Back Me Up. And we hadn't even played it out before. You know, I wrote it and then played it for the band, and it was like, man, let's work it up. We weren't even planning on playing it for the radio tour. And it's funny how people can hear things. You know, my whole radio promo team heard it, was like, oh, dude, you got to play that one. And since then, played it for some guys like you, and guys have been like, oh, that's great, that's a single. Let's do that one. So it's cool to hear people's perspective on it, but this is Back Me Up, so I hope y'all dig it.
1, 2, 3.
Hello, it's unexpected to see you here so unconnected to somebody new. Hey, how are you? We agreed that we were over, yeah, but we just keep talking closer. That's how it goes. gonna play. Back me up.
Thanks so much. Y'all good for a couple more? Yeah. Cool. We're gonna play a cover right now that was always a fun one for me to play. I played live in Baton Rouge. Crazy story about this. When I was playing in Baton Rouge, I was dating a girl that was in a sorority, and I just started playing in these bars, you know, and just trying to see what happened. And, like, I played an open mic night the first night, and I knew 4 songs. So I'm sitting up there, and all my buddies, and like she got on Facebook and kind of told some people about like some of her sorority sisters, and other sororities found out these people just swamped this bar. So I'm sitting up there, and the bartender's looking at me, and my set's over, and he's like, "Oh man, just keep going, keep going." I probably played the same 4 songs probably 5 times, and everybody just stayed there. So he's looking at me, and he's like, "Oh man, this is great!" Like no one even cared. It was so funny. That was college. But this was one of those songs. This is an old Tim McGraw song, "Where the Green Grass Grows." He was a big influence on me, so we're gonna play it for y'all. Kind of put our own swing on it.
1, 2, 3.
Break those out every now and then, you know. Well, thanks again, guys, for hanging out with us. We're happy to be down here. Heath, thank you, buddy. Did my brother get to play for you?
No, we just ate.
He didn't? Oh, really? Good, I'm better anyway. My brother is a recording artist also in Nashville, which is crazy. We drive our mom and dad crazy with this whole thing, but they're supportive, so it's going good. It's funny, we kind of pass in the night, you know. I texted him the other day, I was in Texas, and he was West Coast, and it's pretty wild. So, but anyway, yeah, so I appreciate y'all taking the time. I'm going to play the single for y'all now. It's called What I Want to Be. And I showed up to a right one day and kind of had this idea, and we had a cool groove going that was a little different. And before all that, you know, like I was talking about with country music as a whole right now, and y'all know this better than anybody, the spectrum is very broad and continuing to broaden. So when you got everybody from Sam Hunt to William Michael Morgan, there's a lot of space there in between. And so coming out as a male act, especially, you got to kind of put your foot down. You got to do something different and do things that might make you a little uncomfortable, or maybe that was just me, because when we were cutting this record, you know, there were a few things where I'm looking at my producer like, I hit the button, you know, in the box, I'm like, hey man, what the hell are we doing again? You know, vocally and lyrically and melodically, you know, we kind of took some chances, and you know, you can look back decades past that, you know, from Elvis to the Beatles or whoever, they did something that was different, and somebody probably said, oh, you can't do that, that won't work. But you just keep your head down, your blinders up, and you keep going. So with this one, this is what we did, and you know, we hearing it back through the speakers was something really special. So I'm so pumped to, you know, be on this tour and promoting my first single. It's really awesome, and I can't tell you what it means. But I also, with this song, wrote my favorite line I've ever put in a song about pancakes. So I hope y'all dig it. I threw it out to both co-writers, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool, man, but we probably shouldn't say pancakes." And I'm like, "Why? Why do you not want to say pancakes? You love pancakes? I love pancakes." And then whenever we were throwing the song around the label, you know, asking them to pick, you know, what their favorite pick was, it was funny because all the girls were, no one heard the title. Everybody's just like, "Oh, the pancake song. Let's go with the pancake song." So this is What I Want to Be, aka the pancake song.
1, 2, 3.
Know what you're thinking. Here comes another pickup line, gonna shoot down another. Hey, what you drinking? From another cashmere crowded round. But I'm gonna say no, man. Cause no, that ain't my style. But I bet you're a slow dance, yeah. If I can change your mind. Cause I don't wanna be just another thing that you think about. You think about, no, no, no. I ain't into being a reason never tears fall. You
Jacob Davis, ladies and gentlemen. You got time for a couple questions?
Yeah, man.
If you don't mind.
Oh,
You went to LSU.
I did.
Now
That's
you're-
always a good one to start
Your
with.
brother's a big football fan. I assume you are too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Highlight, biggest moment as a football fan at LSU?
Oh, yeah, we beat Ohio State.
There you go.
In New Orleans. National championship.
National champ, that was what, 10, 11?
No, it
10?
would have been earlier. It was 2000.
Oh, it was 2007 season, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
it was 2007.
that's right.
Yep.
I'm a football
Are
fan.
you an LSU fan too?
I am not. I'm a Georgia Bulldog,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm in the minority down here in Florida. I gotta ask, because you mentioned Jim Collins, and like he said, he wrote "She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy" and "Big Green Tractor." I mean, you're a newbie in Nashville when you walk in, and all of a sudden there's this guy who's written these monster hits. Are you nervous when you talk to this guy?
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they're almost like your idols. Well, they are like your idols. A lot of those songs, like the good stuff, I can't even play that lick, but he started playing that
Ding,
lick.
ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding,
Ding, ding, ding, ding, ding, ding.
Right.
And I'm like, I mean, it gives me chills, but yeah, but there's a you know, you kind of got to get past the nervousness and go to work.
Right.
You know?
I mean, this guy is a genius when it comes to writing a song, and you just got to pick his brain.
Yeah.
He was an artist back in the 90s,
Yeah.
and he had a song out called Two Hearts Never Break Even.
Yeah.
And I thought that, I mean,
Yeah, right.
that was
Oh,
before the Tractor songs, and the
I know,
guy's a
man.
brilliant guy.
Dude, he's a great singer and
Yeah.
just all around just great.
He's kind of got like a James Taylor to his voice
Yeah, for
now.
sure.
He's a good guy. So the first song is out. Were you set on that being the single, or did you have some other ideas of what you wanted to come out with first?
Man, honestly, I did, you know, it was kind of a weird thing. The head of the label at Black River calls me on Christmas Eve. And actually, he texted me first. He was like, hey, can I call you? And I said, yeah. So he calls me, and when the boss man calls, you answer.
Always.
Yeah, so he goes, hey, where are you at with the single? Because it was my decision and his decision, period. And he said, you tell me first. And I said, man, that's what I want to be. I'm not questioning it at all. I think that's it. And he goes, I couldn't agree with you more.
By then, it had already been recorded?
Yeah, we recorded it. We were done with it. We cut 8 songs, and we picked from those 8. You know, and you think like you want to go tempo first, you want to go ballad first, and with me it was what I thought was going to be the most different, and that's what we went with.
That's awesome. Now, you talk about being a big fan of 90s country.
Mm-hmm.
Best all-time record, show.
Oh man! So
It's hard to pinpoint, I know.
this show's awesome. My brother and my parents took me and my brother to a John Anderson concert.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, right? He's a Florida boy.
He's a Florida boy, yeah.
So John Anderson is playing. We're at the Municipal Auditorium in Shreveport, and I was probably like 8. Jordan was probably 6. And my uncle was a songwriter in Nashville and had gotten a cut on John Anderson or whatever. So when he came, we got to go backstage. So me and my brother are just like, you know, that big. We're sitting side stage. John Anderson is bigger, you know, larger than life, and he's in the middle of that song. I wish I could have been there. I wish I could have been there.
For life?
Yeah, dude. He comes over and he walks side stage, and we're sitting there just like in awe. And he's playing his guitar, you know, doing his little strum. And he looks over and he goes, "What about the boys?" And then walks back to stage, and I look at Jordan and I was like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" It was the craziest thing ever.
That was, what, 20 years ago?
Yeah,
20,
man.
15 years ago or
Yeah.
so? Something you'll
Yeah.
never forget?
20 years ago, yeah. And that was my first concert that I can really remember. So what a way to kick it off. So maybe it got in the blood then.
I think John Anderson was my first concert when I was like 5 or 8
No
years
way.
old. Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, because he had 2 lives. He had that live, in the 80s with Swingin'.
Yeah,
then he disappeared, came back with Seminole Wind and Straight Tequila Night and Money in the Bank.
Seminole Wind was so good. I love him.
Jacob Davis, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do some pictures up here in just a second. We'll clear the stage. Just hold tight where you are. We'll clear off the stage, and then we'll have some people come up here and take some pictures with you, all right? Thanks, guys.
Dude, was that really your first concert? It was, yeah. Fort Pierce. Fort Pierce at the, what was it called?